sorry, but I can't listen to this hogwash anymore. It's no matter what you say, Harry is obviously the sickest of the royal family. He's selling his family. He's throwing his family under a bus. Meghan is completely behind this, and all he's doing this for is monetizing off something that he doesn't believe in.
And why do you care? Because you sound quite upset about that. Why are you so invested?
Actually, yeah, because I'm a Tory supporter. I've been a royalist through and through, and I think it's absolutely disgusting how he's left his brother, Prince William, who's dutiful. This guy, Prince Harry, has came from an overprivileged family. He's had the riches at his fingertips, the best education in the world, and here he is now deciding that he wants to jump ship and doesn't want to do the hard work, but he still wants to monetize off it. It's disgusting. And this manipulative so-and-so is absolutely behind all of this. And she knew exactly what she was doing from the get-go.
It's interesting that you describe them as overprivileged, and yet you also describe yourself as a royalist and a supporter of the royal family. So you obviously support the hierarchy as it stands, with the royal family at the top of British society. So is your emotional investment in this, is this because you think that he is undermining significantly the royal family? Do you think he has that power?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I do. And I think he's making our country look like absolute gosh. I mean, it's just disgusting what he's done. And I can't believe anybody is paying to watch this Netflix, paying to read his book. This guy should go and live in exile. If this was 300 years ago, I mean, this is treason. It's just disgusting what he's doing.
You talked about how our country looks to the rest of the world. Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed by the revelations?
Absolutely, absolutely. This guy should have done his duties. He should have fulfilled his duties as part of the royal family, like everybody else does, and get on with it.
The revelations are about the family, though. So to a degree, you're embarrassed about the mirror that Harry's holding up to this institution that you have been supportive of. So are you a bit embarrassed to have supported them?
I'm embarrassed about him.
Right.
I'm embarrassed about him. I'm embarrassed about what he has married. I mean, look at William. He did the right thing. He married a proper English rose who's doing exactly what she should be doing.
Which is what? Okay,
supporting her country.
And how is she doing that, in your view? Just by not saying anything?
No, not at all. I don't think it's that. I think she's fulfilling her duties. She's hardworking, just like Princess Anne.
Well, I mean, we actually discussed some statistics on the show. It was either last week or the week before, which showed that the number of royal visits that particularly William and Kate have done is actually very, very low, particularly compared to Princess Anne. They're not doing that much as compared to the more senior members of the royal family. So I just wonder what it is that Kate represents to you that Meghan doesn't.
I think Meghan is very contrived. She's very manipulative, and she's got exactly what she wants. And she's trying to tear down the royal family. And now he's over there in, La La Land with her, and it's just dreadful. It's just dreadful. And now they're still trying to monetize off something that they don't believe in.
But, I've heard it said that Catherine picked the university she did purely because she wanted to marry William.
Yes.
So you could, if you were differently minded, describe that as being quite manipulative and wanting to get what she wanted. So what is the fundamental difference between Kate and Meghan that you find so prominent?
Because it's quite easy. I mean, Kate hasn't destroyed our monarchy. And this woman came in single-handedly to destroy our monarchy. And I think she probably just wants to up her own career, to be quite honest.
Okay. So,
and I can't believe that there he was. I watched one episode of this stupid documentary, and I just couldn't watch any more. I mean, it was so cringy, and it was just awful how he was like, oh, yes, but I couldn't believe it, how she was about to go away with me and blah, blah.
That people talk about Meghan Markle reveals quite a lot about the nature of racialization. I made a video talking about the jealousy that white women display towards black women, and a few people brought up Meghan Markle as an example, and then quite an interesting conversation unfolded in the comments. Some people said that this didn't apply to her because she's white passing, and that honestly really surprised me. I had never heard someone describe her as white passing before. And I think it highlights that part of racialization is contextual. You might be racialized differently in different contexts. I've kind of experienced this myself on a very, very, very micro level. I've noticed that whenever I make videos about racism and white supremacy, a minority of people racialize me differently. I experience an increase in anti-Semitism that's targeted at me, even though I'm not Jewish. And I've even had a very, very, very small number of comments asking me if I'm mixed race. One person was even like, "You keep referring to yourself as a white woman, but you're obviously not a white European woman." And I just didn't know what to say to that, to be honest. That's certainly not something that's ever been said to me before. And so it really seemed like something about the content I was making was impacting the way that some people viewed me. Back to Meghan Markle, I can accept that there might be some contexts in which people see her as a white woman, but marrying into the British royal family is not one of those contexts, because that's probably one of the most prominent cases of anything that makes you different from them being the royal family, is going to be overemphasized in the mindset of the British public. Now, obviously, that's not to say that Meghan Markle's experience of racism here has been anywhere near the same level as it would have been if Harry had married Lupita Nyong'o, but I kind of think that's what makes her an interesting example, because she's a testament to the fact that even when people do see you as having a high proximity to whiteness, the purity mindset that surrounds the royal family would never have allowed any woman who is anything other than white to go through that experience unscathed. And I think it's really naive to think that the hostility targeted at her wasn't rooted in anti-black racism and that the white British public didn't feel jealousy and insecurity in relation to her. You know, one of the symptoms of jealousy is holding someone to an unreasonably high standard so that you can always accuse them of falling short. And I think that describes the public's reaction to her pretty well, to be honest.
On a recent weekday, LBC Radio became the stage for a heated debate about Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. A caller launched into harsh criticism, accusing Meghan of being manipulative and blaming her for royal family tensions. The host tried to steer the conversation, but the caller persisted, their emotion clear. Eventually, the host cut off the call, urging respect and facts. The moment quickly trended online, exposing deep divisions over Meghan and the monarchy. As soon as clips of the phone-in appeared online, social media ignited. Hashtags like Meghan Markle and LBC trended on Twitter within hours. Many users condemned the caller's remarks as unfair and even hateful. Some accused LBC of allowing bullying on air, while others blamed the host for not intervening sooner. People shared clips and transcripts of the call, adding their own commentary. Some highlighted the tone of the caller, saying it was an example of the kind of hostility Meghan often faces. Others pointed out that the criticism crossed a line from opinion into personal attack. Well-known commentators joined the debate, further amplifying the story. A number of listeners reached out directly to LBC, posting messages on the station's Facebook and Instagram pages. Some demanded an apology or a statement from the host. A few called for greater protections to prevent such negativity from being broadcast in the future. But the backlash was not limited to criticism. Some who agreed with the caller's points began to argue that the outrage was an overreaction. The division on social media soon mirrored the divisions in public opinion about Meghan herself. The debate quickly split into two camps. Supporters defended Meghan, citing bias and harsh coverage. Critics argued public figures must accept criticism. Many felt uncomfortable with the tone on both sides, calling for more respectful dialogue. Debates about Meghan and Harry rarely stay polite or simple. The caller's remarks revealed several logical flaws: sweeping criticism, personal attacks, and little evidence. The argument felt more like an emotional outburst than a reasoned position. Others quickly challenged these flaws, noting that blaming Meghan alone ignores complex royal dynamics. Critics argued that strong opinions need strong evidence, especially when discussing public figures. News outlets quickly picked up the story, but their coverage varied widely. Some newspapers ran headlines condemning the caller and praising LBC for cutting off the call. Others focused on the controversy itself, framing the incident as proof that debate over Meghan is still raw and unresolved. Tabloids tended to highlight the program's hosted panels to discuss whether the radio station should have allowed the comments to air. Others drilled down into the issue of media bias, asking experts why Meghan seems to attract such strong reactions compared to other royals. The variety in coverage shaped how people saw the event. It also raised questions about the responsibilities of journalists and editors when reporting on sensitive topics. The LBC phone-in is not just about one caller or one controversy to royal life. This perception of bias is not new. Since Meghan and Harry's relationship began, there have been countless headlines, opinion pieces, and debates focusing on her motives and character. Critics argue that stories about Meghan often use coded language or double standards, especially when compared to coverage of other royals. Supporters of the media sometimes push back, saying that all royals face scrutiny and that Meghan's choices, like stepping back from royal duties or speaking openly, invite more attention. Yet studies and surveys often find that negative stories about Meghan outweigh positive ones, and that similar actions by other royals are reported more gently. This broader context makes moments like the LBC call-in especially charged. They become symbols of a larger struggle over fairness, race, and the image of the monarchy. The fallout from the phone-in shows how deeply divided public opinion is. Some see Meghan as a victim of unfair treatment, while others believe she deserves criticism for her choices. These splits often reflect wider social divisions, including attitudes about class, race, gender, and tradition. Surveys show that people's views on Meghan often align with their views on the monarchy itself. Younger people and those from more diverse backgrounds are more likely to support her. Older listeners, or those who value tradition, tend to be more sceptical. Debates like the LBC phone-in can bring these divisions into sharper focus. Instead of helping people understand each other, they can push people further apart. Social media amplifies the loudest voices, making it harder for more balanced perspectives to be heard. These divisions matter because they influence how society talks about issues like race, privilege, and the role of the press. When debates become polarized, it becomes harder to find common ground. The way media outlets frame stories shapes public understanding. When headlines repeat harsh language or focus on conflict, they can reinforce negative stereotypes. When coverage highlights debate and disagreement, it can make issues seem more divisive than they really are. In the case of Meghan and Harry, media framing often emphasizes controversy over context. Stories are built around drama, not nuance. This can make it harder for people to see the real issues, such as inequality, changing social values, or the pressures faced by those in public life. Responsible journalism means more than reporting what happened. It means putting stories in context, checking facts, and avoiding language that inflames rather than informs. It also means giving space for different voices, especially those who are often left out of mainstream debate. When media fails to do this, the result is more confusion and mistrust. That's why it's crucial for people to think critically about what they read and hear. So, what should listeners and readers do when confronted with strong opinions, especially about public figures like Meghan Sussex? First, it's important to look beyond the headline. Check multiple sources and ask whether the argument is based on evidence or emotion. Be alert to logical fallacies such as personal attacks or sweeping generalizations. Second, remember that everyone brings their own biases, whether they're callers on radio, journalists, or even ourselves. Try to ask why someone might hold a particular view and consider the social or historical context behind it. Third, recognize the power of language. Words can build bridges or drive wedges. Public debates should aim to inform, not inflame. When arguments become too heated, take a step back and ask what's really at stake. Finally, demand better from the media. Challenge broadcasters and journalists to avoid lazy stereotypes and to give all sides a fair hearing. By thinking critically and refusing to be swept up by outrage or drama, we can help build a more thoughtful and just public conversation.